Hello again, I'm Alex Miceli, and I stood on this exact fairway at Royal Melbourne, the 10th hole, and said to you that we were going to have a great President's Cup. And you know what? We had a great President's Cup. 16-14 U.S. win over internationals. That's 12 wins by the United States out of 14 cups. Now, that is overwhelming, there's no question. And we can talk about, what has to happen, if something has to happen to make it more competitive. But it was competitive. In fact, it was competitive 4 years ago in Korea as well. The internationals played better overseas than they do in the U.S. Clearly, if you would have watched what happened at Liberty National, you know that. But the point is that Ernie Els had a plan here this week, and he almost got it done. He didn't get it done because maybe of one specific reason. And you can look at the singles and see they lost 8-4 in the singles and say that's the reason. My point would be they lost in Friday foursomes, where at one point they led in all 5 matches and let guys get away. Now, Ernie talked about the fact that when you got somebody down, when you have them on the ground, you got to step on their neck and you can't let them up. Unfortunately, the internationals let them up, meaning the Americans, and we are where we are today, 16-14. Now, Ernie had said that he had this plan, as I mentioned earlier, and that he was going to reveal the plan to us, and he didn't. And I understand why. He didn't reveal the plan because he was emotionally distraught by the fact that they didn't win. He thought, there's no question in my mind that Ernie Els thought he was going to win, and if he had won, he said he would have revealed the plan. But he didn't win. Now, does that mean that this was a failure? No. I think this was what we would call a stepping stone, actually. The U.S. had problems at Medina, and they brought in Tom Watson. And then they had problems at Glen Eagles, and then they came in with the task force. Now, that's not going to happen here. But what you need is a stepping stone to continue to move forward. And the internationals, who had 10 points after the first 3 days, and only needed 5.5 out of the remaining 12 in singles to win the cup, was in probably one of the best positions they've ever been in. So, do you call that a failure, or do you call that a stepping stone? I call it a stepping stone, and I'm not usually one that's optimistic, as you know. I'm usually very pessimistic. Look, I've had my issues with Tiger Woods in the past, but you have to give Tiger Woods and his team an immense amount of credit. First of all, you take Tiger as playing captain, who I thought was not a good idea. And I will admit that. You could go through the video and find that. Numerous times I've said that. But he's the only guy that was undefeated on the American side, 3-0. Then I was the guy that said Tiger should have played on Saturday because they needed him. But he knew better than me, and obviously look what happened, 16-14. There's no question at this point that Tiger Woods is the best, absolute best player of his era. I'm never going to go with he's the best player ever, because eras matter. Bobby Jones, Ben Hogan, Sam Snead, Greg Norman, for goodness sakes, Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson. Eras matter. And in the era of the last 25 years, there is no question that Tiger Woods has been the best, period. End of sentence. And now you look at what he did here at Royal Melbourne, and you look at what he did in Japan at Zozo, and you look at what he did at Hero, where he played well. And then you start saying, well, what stops him now? We have 4 majors coming up in 2020. We have the Masters, obviously. We have the U.S. Open at Winged Foot, which I think is a more difficult golf course for Tiger. We have the Open Championship at Royal St. George's, and we have the PGA Championship at Harding Park. I think 3 of those 4, obviously, are right in Tiger Woods' wheelhouse. So that's one of the things I take away from here. The second thing is like I said, I take away the fact that I think the internationals are in a better position now than they were before. I think they are on the path to finding a way to finally win another one of these President's Cups, which is what it's all about. We could talk about how great they played and how close they got, and all that matters only to a point. What really matters is that they have to win. And when they finally win again, then we'll start talking about them in a different vein than we have been talking about them in the past. Look, the Europeans didn't matter. Nothing happened in the Ryder Cup that mattered until the Europeans started winning. Once they started winning, it mattered. Okay? The internationals have to win for this to matter. Now, I had a chance to turn my phone up for a second and get some of the internationals talking about what happened. In this particular case, first Ernie Els, and then in the U.S. side, Tiger Woods. Now, understand that this is a press conference and this is what we go through all the time, but I wanted to try to bring you in and give you a flavor of what it's like.
You know, we could have swallowed that, but great strides was made, especially in our team play. You know, I really felt that our team play was really the core of our team, and that never was. You know, we never felt like we could play foursomes or four-ball together as a team. So we did that well. Before the week started, we had a plan to get to 10 points by Saturday evening. So that's why we were so excited yesterday, losing 3-1, because we knew we got to 10 points. And I could have made different choices in the singles today. I can take it on my shoulders. It is what it is. You know, the questions will come from you guys and from the public that I made mistakes in the selection of where I put my players, but I followed a plan, 100%, and it didn't quite work out.
On a very difficult golf course against a very formidable international team. They were up 8-10, and the guys went in and got it done. We were up early in a lot of matches. It came down to the very end. We knew that was going to happen. We had some really strong guys at the end. Strong guys from 1 through 12. So we were excited about going into this session. I know we lost the 2-team session after the 4-team sessions, but we were excited about our chances going into singles, and we did it as a team.
Okay, great.
Well, look, it's been a great week here, and if you watched any of it on television, I think you would find it compelling. It was pretty interesting. Bottom line, 2 years from now, when we're at Quail Hollow, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, the internationals have to show up, but not only show up, they have to win. And if they don't win, then we're talking all over again about this. And we don't want to be talking about this. We want to talk about how all of a sudden now we have a competition, one where either side can win no matter what side of the pond they're on. I took a couple photos this week, well, more than a couple, but I took some photos this week to kind of give you a flavor of what it was like to be at the President's Cup. So enjoy those. Have a great holiday. I am done for 2019 with my one takes. I will start back up at the beginning of 2020. And I hope to be better. I hope you will comment on my one takes and give me some thoughts, what you'd like to hear or see. It's alex@morningread.com. And have a great holiday as you run through these photos. Thank you very much. Bye!